The 1993 movie Searching for Bobby Fischer is an awesome movie based on the early life of a chess player called Joshua Waitzkin. In the movie, in the final scene, Joshua is facing in the final round of the US Junior Championship a formidable opponent called Jonathan. And after a long struggle, they reach this end game where Joshua offers Jonathan a draw. Jonathan kind of shocked that there was a draw offer here, just declines a draw offer. He's like, "Are you kidding me? Look at the position. I'm way better here." So you can understand how Jonathan felt there because White's pieces look formidable. White has a faster pass pawn, pieces are active. And here, this is where Joshua tells him, "You are lost. You just don't know it yet." This is not entirely true that White is lost in this position, which we'll see afterwards. But what happens next is a fast sequence of moves, where after the rejection of the draw offer, Joshua takes the pawn, and then knight takes back by Jonathan. Joshua takes, rook check, king moves, and now the whole point of this takes, and the fork. And at the end of this is a pawn race where Joshua is kind of one step behind. White reaches first, but after promoting, black also promotes, and here comes the skewer. So black promotes with the skewer, and Joshua wins the game after Jonathan resigns once his queen is captured. The incredible thing in all of this is, you will not believe it, even after knight into e5, this position, like basically after all the exchanges, when Jonathan took back, this is where Joshua is winning. But this position is a draw. It was not lost yet. This was an incredible draw that Jonathan had. This is how we can draw. Just push the pawn. Don't waste a tempo taking the knight. You just have to push the pawn because now if black simply pushes, white will be ahead, right? So black pushes, black pushes, white pushes. Now if black pushes the pawn, white is just going to win the game because white's going to promote. But black can play knight f7. But then just king f6 or g6, knight h8, because if you move away, white promotes, king g7, and the crucial time that white takes to take the knight and move out of the way, black will get the pawn to the end. King takes, push, king moves, and here Joshua will promote, and Jonathan will promote, and it will be a nice draw, and both of them will share the first prize. But it was not to be. In this position, Jonathan just took back, probably a bit confused and dazed by the whole situation. Where in the beginning there was a draw offer which kind of moved him, and after this fast sequence, he just couldn't stop himself from taking the knight. And it's a very important lesson not to automatically recapture. And one another thing is in this whole sequence of moves, if you go back to move number 4, instead of king to f5, Jonathan had king e7, a tricky move because if Joshua tried the same thing now, the king will not take. If you play rook takes bishop, Jonathan will start with rook check, not allowing king takes knight d7 and then takes and push. Black is ahead in tempo there, but now black is the one who's got to take next last. So after takes, this is now a winning pawn race for white. You see, and white just promotes. Even if you bring the knight in, the knight is no match to the h pawn, which is already way fast. So here, instead of king to f5, where you have to take back because it's a check, Jonathan had king e7, where if you take, you are in trouble, which means you should not take. Here, you have to play knight d7. A bit, I'll have to take help of the engine to understand this. Knight d7, and after king take, rook take, this is again an equal position. The rooks stay, then it's an equal position. If the rooks are gone, then whoever promotes first will control the other square or do a skewer. So, such complications in that tiny little endgame where it seemed like Joshua was completely winning after the sequence of moves, and where it seemed like White was better. Jonathan was better at the beginning, but it was not to be. Jonathan had to find some tough moves in between to not lose the game. And the movie ended with a nice win for Joshua, who became the US Junior Champion. In real life, Joshua had become the champion, US Junior Champion in 1993. And then, unfortunately, he stopped playing chess af- after a few years, like 5 years. His last tournament was before 2000. After becoming an international master IM, he stopped playing chess, and that's it. He just lost the love for the game.